This is the AI News Flash for August 27th, 3 p.m. UTC. First up, SK hynix held a groundbreaking ceremony in West Lafayette, Indiana, for a $3.87 billion advanced packaging plant for AI memory. Reuters reports it is the company's first production site in the United States. The facility will handle back-end packaging of high-bandwidth memory, the stacked DRAM that feeds AI accelerators, and will house an R&D hub alongside production. Mass production is targeted for the second half of 2028, with concrete work already underway since the first half of this year and structural construction starting after the ceremony. The U.S. Commerce Department is backing the project with $458 million in Direct CHIPS Act grants and $500 million in loans. CEO Kwak No-jung and other SK Group executives attended, along with Indiana officials, and the site was chosen for its proximity to Purdue University's research talent. SK hynix is a key HBM supplier to NVIDIA, so finishing HBM on U.S. soil plugs a notable gap in the domestic AI supply chain. The company is also running a 40 trillion won buyback and told writers no decision has been made on a reported new plant in Japan's Miyagi Prefecture. Second, the Georgia Public Service Commission has approved Georgia Power's contract to serve OpenAI's planned data center in Effingham County. The deal covers 3,200 megawatts or 3.2 gigawatts, roughly the output of 3 nuclear reactors. Part of the 25-year agreement, OpenAI pays the full cost of the infrastructure and electric service needed for the site. It has also committed up to 1,000 megawatts of flexible demand response, letting the utility throttle the facility during statewide peaks, which Georgia Power calls one of the largest single-facility commitments in the country. Georgia Power says its portfolio of large load contracts will generate about $950 million in annual system savings starting in 2029, translating to roughly $15 a month or $180 a year for a typical household using 1,000 kilowatt hours. The estimate in December was $102 a year. CEO Kim Green said data centers are paying more so families and small businesses can pay less. With backlash over AI-driven power bills spreading nationwide, the ruling is an early test of a regulatory framework that pushes grid costs onto the large customers themselves. Third, Google is imposing new memory usage quality requirements on Android apps, citing hardware supply constraints as AI data center demand soaks up the world's memory chips and squeezes what is available on phones, especially cheaper models. Announced on the Android developers blog by Google Play General Manager Raghavendra Harish Padamsetti, the rules set 3 thresholds: dynamic memory usage, including swap, bitmap memory that lingers when an app is in the background, and DEX code optimization, which requires at least 25% coverage with shrinking tools like R8. Enforcement begins in February 2027. Apps that exceed the thresholds will not be removed, but will face reduced visibility and publishing capabilities on the Play Store. The Play console is gaining memory and bitmap metrics, out-of-memory crash filters, and later this year deeper insight into the Android memory limiter that caps per app consumption. From April 2027, any app with sign-in must also support zero-tap sign-in, automatically restoring login state on a new device through the Restore Credentials API. It is a concrete case of AI infrastructure spending, reshaping how everyday smartphone apps are built. Fourth, Google is moving its AI responsibility unit out of Google DeepMind and into its Global Affairs organization, which oversees lobbying and public policy, according to an internal email reported by the Wall Street Journal. The unit has about 90 people, including teams focused on the chemical, biological, radiological, and nuclear risks of Google's models, on how people interact with AI, and on the psychological effects of chatbots. Global Affairs is led by President Kent Walker. Some members reportedly worry the new reporting line will hurt their work, hamper independent research, and give them less insight into the latest models. A Google spokesperson said many teams work on AI safety, and that bringing the responsibility teams closer together strengthens their ability to inform safety for models and products. The move follows this month's reshuffle in which Demis Hassabis stepped back from the DeepMind CEO role. Shifting frontier model safety evaluation from the research lab to the policy arm is likely to fuel debate over the independence of safety research. Fifth, cybersecurity stocks rallied on Wall Street, with Okta jumping 20% and CrowdStrike surging 15% after both companies beat second quarter expectations, with rising AI-driven threats cited as the tailwind. CrowdStrike's revenue rose 26% to $1.47 billion, annual recurring revenue climbed 25% to $5.84 billion, and net new ARR grew 51% to $332.8 million. The company raised full-year revenue guidance to between $5.99 and $6.01 billion, and its consumption-based Falcon Flex ARR doubled. CEO George Kurtz called it the best quarter in CrowdStrike's history and said the Mythos moment, referring to Anthropic's release of a model that can exploit unknown vulnerabilities, translated into mass market acceptance that AI adoption needs security. Okta CEO Todd McKinnon added that every AI agent needs a trusted identity and clear controls over what it can access and do. Amid the SaaSpocalypse narrative that AI will hollow out software companies, security stands out as a sector where every new AI agent becomes fresh demand for identity and defense, making AI a tailwind rather than a threat. That's all for this AI News Flash.